Yeah, it looks like it's going to be one of those days here on Chicago Corner. I hit the wrong button and we didn't get to see the Taco Tuesday open. But that's okay. Unless you guys want to stand by, we'll do a new countdown. Actually, maybe we want to just start the whole damn stream over because I think we're streaming in 720, which we're not supposed to be doing. But anyway, it's still technically HD, so welcome to the Tuesday edition of Chicago Corner. I'm Deep Dish Pizza enthusiast Edward Heller, and with me, if he can manage to battle the gremlins in the Ethernet and the internet today, Jerry Vasilatos will hopefully be joining us shortly. So, what are we doing today? We got a few things to talk about today. And one of those things is a thing I'm going to share on the screen with you momentarily. Oh, here it is. Today is National Mojito Day. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if you guys are familiar with mojitos, but I was like, wait a minute. Do I even remember how to make a mojito? So here we're going to watch a very quick instructional on how to make mojitos, I think. From Muddle Muddle. These guys, follow those guys on the internet. Light rum, mint, club soda, sugar. Hold on, wait, we gotta back this up because I missed all of that. These guys are going way too fast. Let's start over. All right. The mojito. You need light rum, mint, club soda, sugar, lime, and a highball glass. Okay, there's the lime. They're cutting that into wedges. They're using mint leaves. Did I see mint leaves at the beginning? I guess so. So you're putting the mint in the glass. You're putting the lime in the glass. You're going to grab that muddler. It looks like a tiny little baseball bat. Then looks like, yeah, spoonful of sugar in there. So now they're just gonna mash the crap out of some more limes and sugar with the muddler there, and then filling the top of the glass with the ice. Here comes the rum and a little bit of club soda all the way to the top, and there is your lovely, lovely mojito. So that was cool. So joining me today is Jerry Vasilatos, and welcome, Jerry. I got the little background music playing in the background here for ambiance on National Mojito Day. You know, actually, they said that we were going to possibly be able to see the Northern Lights this week. In a bunch of states, including Illinois. And so if you're drinking a mojito while you're watching the Northern Lights, Jerry, is it a Mojito Borealis?
I can't even see you right now to know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay. What did you say the choices were?
I said, if you are drinking a mojito while you are watching the Northern Lights, do you call it a Mojito Borealis?
I think that would be fair to reference. Sure.
All right, cool. I'm gonna stop playing this music. It's too distracting for me. But welcome everybody. Glad to see you here. I think we got a couple wonderful people in the chat there. I see Extra Bulla, Uncle Warren. It's good to see you. And Arturo, he says today was a good day for him. That's good. That's good news.
We look forward to hearing more, Art.
And then we are reminded that Jerry and I are going to be on Extra Bulla's other channel, Mundus Ultra, this Thursday night, talking about the Las Vegas alien ships, UFOs, UAPs, whatever you call them.
Yep.
And those aliens that were running around over there, and more. I'm excited to find out what the and more is myself.
Well, I'm sure that Uncle Warren's going to have us up to date on the most latest breaking news on that. I've been monitoring social media a lot myself these days since all these disclosures were revealed almost a month ago. I thought we'd get a little bit more information a little bit quicker, so I can say I'm a bit impatient in finding out more. But hopefully Warren will have some updates. So Ed, my entire screen is frozen, although you can hear me and see me. I have no
I can see you and hear you fine.
Okay, I got no control over anything. Everybody, please excuse me. I'm going to leave the studio and see if things work on Chrome, because this isn't going to. I'm not going to have any ability to do anything. So I will.
Right. Well, no worries, Jerry, because I got a few stories I can get us rolling with video wise.
Okay.
While you deal with your rebooting and rejoining.
Okay. Let me get a word in real quick.
Go ahead.
Excuse me. I'll be right back.
All right. So, yeah, it's been an ongoing saga with the gremlins and Jerry's computer. And we're not sure if maybe the aliens are messing with us because they don't want us to be on Mundus Ultra on Thursday, but we're going. You're not going to stop us. Kathy Powers, good to see you. Miguel H., good to see you in the chat, buddy. Who else is there? I don't see anybody else talking to us in the chat, but if you're watching us on any of the platforms that we're streaming on, give us a holler. Let us know that you're seeing us, and hopefully you will like what you see when we are able to actually broadcast. And if you do like us, we definitely implore you to support us at patreon.com/Chicago Corner. Thank everybody who is currently supporting us right now. That every little bit helps. All right, on with the rest of the train wreck that I'm doing today. There's what else is going on? Oh yeah, that else is going on. There's a thing I wanted to cover, but I want to get all the tabs up and rolling. So I'm just going to stall for a minute while I try to get some tabs up. And if you want to stand by for a moment, I will be with you very shortly. Okay, we're back, and we have sort of breaking news from the past, so hang on a second. That's enough of here. Hold on, wait, I can't hit the buttons. I'm not hitting all the buttons today. It's like everything in my brain is scrambled out of order, but I'm hoping you're enjoying this.
Gray's Pharmacy in Norfolk received no official recall notification. Pharmacists simply reacted on the basis of news reports.
We removed all the Tylenol extra strength capsules, 24s, 36s, and 100s.
A check of each package of extra strength Tylenol capsules found none bearing the lot numbers MC2880 and 1910MD, both of which have been linked to cyanide contamination. If you have extra strength Tylenol at home and want to check the lot number, look on the box or right on the label of the bottle.
We've had lots of phone calls and lots of people come in and question, whether they should take what they have or whether they should buy.
Callers are told not to take the extra strength capsules, and most stores have removed them from the shelves. Tablets, however, are not included in the controversy and are still available. Safety seals are one way to prevent contamination. If the seal has been broken, then you know the medication has been tampered with.
And I'm playing that because back in 1982, there was a mystery. A bunch of people started dying from taking Tylenol. And they tested the Tylenol that these people were dying from, and it was laced with cyanide. And from that moment on, all of the drug manufacturers had to double and triple the security features on their medications. That's why it's so hard to open medication these days unless you specifically ask your doctor to get easy open containers for your medicine. And it's all because some guy put Tylenol in there. And the reason I'm talking about that now is because of this.
7 people murdered after taking Tylenol laced with cyanide more than 40 years ago. Their killer never arrested.
Now their families may never get closure because the prime suspect, James Lewis, is dead. It's an investigation we've been working on for 2 years. Our series called Painkiller.
We previously spoke to investigators who said they were confident the case was solved. So why hasn't Lewis or anyone for that matter been charged with the murder?
Yeah, we don't know why they never charged him. He was convicted of I think it was extortion or something because he had sent letters to Tylenol because apparently he had a grudge against them. But they had never been able to prove, or at least they hadn't followed through with prosecution, proving that he actually committed the murders, Jerry.
Did they ever establish what his grudge with Tylenol was?
I think someone has details on that, and I don't know the specifics on that, but I would imagine CBS News probably has more details on that. They did this thing called, well, you can see that we played part of it, called Painkiller, the Tylenol Murders, and they had a whole feature that they did, I want to say last year, where they covered basically the entire event and everything. And so if this guy had a specific reason why he was extorting these guys, or a specific reason why he had a grudge against, I guess Johnson & Johnson is who it was. It's not clear what specifically that was. If it was him, and it can't possibly be that he might have, I would have said some nutty guy would say, well, this stuff is totally not safe. It's really easy to tamper with this stuff, and I'll prove it. Yeah, sometimes people are that psychotic that they think that that's a good idea to do it that way. Let people die in order to prove your point. That's no. At least that's my speculation. But I don't know.
So the news reporter said that, I'm sorry, I had to drop out for a moment until I reestablished connection, that he's passed away and that they were still, to this day, they were trying to investigate so that the victims' families had some justice if this guy was responsible. Is that what I heard in the end of that report?
Yeah, I could play a little more because we're only
no, because then everything's going to slow down and on this end. I mean, unless you want
anyway,
to.
I
just heard the break.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really much to cover about that other than the fact that the guy died and they still hadn't even followed through with prosecution on the guy. But along those lines, Jerry, Tylenol is on trial, so to speak, although this guy was never on trial. And go ahead.
You know whose life this guy really spoiled was anybody who had arthritis medication, unable to get these bottles open so that they could get more bottles open.
Yeah, it's screwed a lot of people for decades until they realize that, well, maybe we need to pick and choose who gets the what do they call tamper prevention technology that they put
Tamper-proof caps. So what
Yeah.
else is Tylenol under scrutiny now, though, for? You alluded to it.
No, well, this is actually a story that's been going on for a little bit, but apparently this is going to start moving forward. There's a class action lawsuit that's going to be happening against Tylenol. And let me read that for you. More than 100 families of children with autism and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder are suing companies that market acetaminophen, also known as Tylenol, the pain reliever in Tylenol, and an array of other medications. Tylenol maker Johnson & Johnson, as well as major retailers that use acetaminophen in their store brand products, knew about research linking prenatal use of acetaminophen to neurodevelopmental disorders in children, the families claim, and should have included warnings on product labels. So this is huge if this goes forward, because I mean, how many pregnant women were offered Tylenol as a painkiller when they were admitted to hospitals before or during the process of birth?
Well, the brand name Tylenol is pretty much what everybody refers they're going to give you, regardless of what kind of painkiller it is, because they're so dominant in the industry with this particular type of painkiller. Anytime you talk to a doctor, they'll say, "Did you take Tylenol?" They could just as easily say ibuprofen, but
Or
Tylenol is,
acetaminophen.
yeah. But Tylenol is the dominant one because of the monopoly that they have over the industry.
Yeah, I think for a long time it was like you had aspirin, you had Tylenol, acetaminophen, you had Advil, which I think was the ibuprofen brand, and then finally a lot of those became available as generics. And then the NSAIDs came out, like Aleve and Vioxx and Celebrex, and those have their own issues. Aside from most of these drugs probably causing any kind of kidney and liver damage, from what I've read. But for it to
kidney and liver.
Yeah, but so like medication is like, you got to be careful when you're taking medications. You look, I mean, and we joke about those TV commercials where they read off the list of possible side effects, and it's 3 times longer than the actual commercial. Because I think a lot of the drug companies are trying to cover their bases, but it's not cool when you learn that maybe something was avoidable, except something got approved by the FDA before it should have been, or maybe never should have been. So here we are with what is seemed to be, or most people probably consider, a household pain reliever. This is Tylenol, and now there's a class action lawsuit that is claiming that pregnant women, their children are possibly damaged by taking this. So
it can't help but remind me also to the claims of other investigators and researchers like Robert Kennedy Jr. regarding how other vaccines have also been seen to damage young kids, even though they're they're given in the interest of trying to help kids or help anybody offset the possibility of diseases. We've been seeing more, and I'm not anti-vax, so don't anybody jump on that right now. But there is a legitimate connection with a lot of vaccines, along with this medication. We can even talk about what happened with the COVID vaccinations that didn't have enough testing, causing problems in people. What's surprising about this is that a drug that's been on the market for so long is suddenly just now we're discovering this, as opposed to, I would imagine at least 10 years ago. Why is it taking this long to get to this point?
Yeah.
To discover this. I mean, it's my understanding that clinical trials and drug testing is supposed to be able to inform the researchers and the drug companies that this isn't going to be an after effect. So that just speaks to, I guess, the dim-wittedness of our FDA that
Well,
approves.
that and it's just, and other streamers and other journalists have brought up the fact that it seems like the FDA and the drug industry are basically corporate captured for the
Pretty much.
whole approval process,
Pretty much.
and it's
Or-
been that way for a while.
Or Ed, they're looking the other way for reasons that we can all speculate on, but don't have the. Well, in some cases, we have the evidence of that. Remember when Purdue Pharmacy was giving out their opioid medication like it was sweet tarts, and they found out later a lot of the reason that the FDA or people at the FDA turned a blind eye was because they were promised jobs at Purdue Pharma later. So look, there's a lot of complicity between our federal agencies that are supposed to protect us, whether it's the FDA or whether it's the SEC or whether it's any other government entity that's supposed to actually hold these companies accountable, but the damage is done. And everybody's like looking at each other, wondering how did that happen when there are agencies in place that are supposed to be awake instead of asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, I'm going to read a little more from this article here. It's hardly an open and shut case. Most of what is known about acetaminophen and pregnancy comes from a type of study that sifts through data looking for correlations between prenatal exposures and developmental disorders. Scientists have been fighting amongst themselves over how much weight to give these studies, which were not designed to prove that a given factor, in this case acetaminophen, caused ADHD or autism. Now, see, here's what I like about this paragraph. It says scientists have been fighting amongst themselves. That's how you do medical science and debate over what is true and what is not. You get scientists doing research and then analyzing the research and going back and forth saying, this is what I'm seeing on this. This is what I'm seeing on this. Now, I hate to go back to talking about, what happened during the lockdown, but they were silencing all dissenting voices.
Of course.
That is not how science works.
Well, especially now that all those dissenting voices have actually proven to be true. Everything that they were asking questions
I would say most of them,
that they suspected, most of them, suddenly it's come to pass that they shouldn't have been censored and those questions should have been asked or acknowledged. But because the pharmaceutical industries, Ed, as we know, we're more focused on making bank. Anybody that had a dissenting opinion or wanted to question the research or at least, give it more time was branded like they were branded like, what do you call it? The scarlet letter, off of social media, canceled, censored.
Exactly. And this is not, and this is not just two guys, spouting off our opinions on this. We're basing this off of this article here and other information that we've received. Like this paragraph here says the debate reached a boiling point in 2021 when a group of international scientists declared that the current research, limited as it is, warrants stronger warnings about the use of acetaminophen during pregnancy. In a consensus statement published in Nature Reviews Endocrinology, the scientists called for precautionary action through focused research and increased awareness of the drug's potential risks. 91 scientists, clinicians, and public health professionals from around the world signed on to this. So it's not just us two, just jabbing away here. There are people in the medical fields, medical industry, doctors, scientists. This statement was a galvanizing incident for the lawsuit, said Ashley Keller, a founding partner of the legal firm Keller Postman LLC and one of the lawsuit's lead attorneys. But there's a hitch. The consensus statement does not, in fact, reflect the views of many experts. Are you sure? Or of any major medical organization. Well, some of those major medical organizations just flat out lied to us within the last 6 months to 3 years. So I don't know how much salt, how much grains of salt we have to give for credibility for agencies that blatantly failed us whether it was on purpose or part of a larger cover-up of their, I don't know what you would call it, ineptitude. I just, I don't trust the CDC. Do you? Not anymore.
I don't know who to trust anymore, Ed. At the beginning of the pandemic, I thought it made sense to take time and wait and listen to the scientists and the medical professionals. But, after what we've learned now, I don't know. I mean, my faith in medicine and science, I don't know who to believe anymore. I mean, that episode, that horrible, traumatic incident in recent history now, the 2020 pandemic, I think what I came away from it with is, who do we trust anymore if those that we look to for advice and protection aren't really telling us the truth or obfuscating for other nefarious reasons? RFK said if he's elected president, he's going to go after investigating and prosecuting Fauci if there's a case to be made there on Fauci and his involvement with the gain of function research.
Yeah, I think he's saying it, but I don't think he will.
Well, he's saying it though. No one else is.
Yeah, that's true. That's part of it right there. All right, so I think that's enough of the Tylenol stuff. We got some other interesting information here. Apparently, Jerry, Jamie Foxx is still in Chicago.
I never knew he arrived here.
Yeah, well, he came here apparently for some medical treatment months back, and maybe he's been here the whole time. And I have ideas on what that could possibly be. But here, do I have the article here? Okay, here we go. That's the article. Jamie Foxx surprises woman in Chicago by retrieving lost purse. She says actor is, quote, strong and well. That's what she says.
That's what she said.
So here, and there's a video from Barber Homie Kwan on Instagram, and I'm just gonna go to the one I got here. It's a little easier to watch. So here he is getting out of his car. Apparently she had left her purse wherever the hell she and he had encountered each other briefly, and he must have seen her leave it and went after her to try and connect with her and give it back. So here's the video.
Thank you, Jamie. Oh my God! Your purse.
They're in a pedicab.
You take a picture of them?
Now I was trying to figure out where they were, and I was like cycling through them to try and get a hint. And I think I had a still image that showed that they were near the Kinsey Hotel. I don't know if I have it.
Looks like South Loop.
Yeah, they're downtown by the Kinsey Hotel. I had pulled up. Let's see if I've got that image handy here. Hold on a second. Okay. So I've got. What did I do? What did I do with it? Where is it? What is wrong with me and not being organized today, Jerry? Oh, wait, that's every day. I can't find the thing. I had an image I uploaded.
I wish I could help you.
That's okay. That's okay, Jerry. We're doing it live, Jerry. I'm going to do it live because that's what I do. So I'm going to go over to the Google Maps, and we're going to type Kinsey Hotel, which is where that video was shot, right over by there, over on what is it? I guess that's Kinsey and Kinsey and Dearborn over there. Okay, I was trying to figure out what else is over there, and let's see. Can't get let me close this window here. What else is over there, Jerry? Is the Northwest. It's if you go a little
Rehab
bit east,
Institute. Rehab
you
Institute.
got some rehab places over there. A ton of them.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe it was the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab, which is over here, like near Ohio and Erie, or McClurg and Erie over here. It's not that far away. Also, you got all the Northwestern medicine buildings over there too. So the hospital's there. There's a ton of different buildings in that vicinity, which is more or less Streeterville-ish, downtown Chicago area, like North Michigan Avenue-ish area. There's a lot of doctors' offices over there. So he could be going to any number of rehab facilities over there. Now the rumor was that he had a stroke, and although Jamie Foxx's people will not confirm that it was a stroke caused by any particularly jabby type implement, some can speculate that could have been one of the possibilities, because some of us familiar with how spike proteins work might realize the types of things that could potentially happen, like enlarged hearts, heart attacks, strokes, any number of inflammatory responses that would have happened from your immune system being jacked with like that. And so he might have been in a worse situation before he was brought to Chicago than he is now. Now, if he was getting proper treatment and whoever the doctors were treating him properly with things that would be helping him recover from that stuff, and there's lots of doctors that know how to do that, it's very likely he could be doing the things he's doing now. Someone else posted a video that he was at Topgolf the other day, hitting the driving range. I'm like, yeah, I suppose if he's somewhat recovered from whatever it was that was the main problem, and his body is basically he's just got to take it easy on whatever he's doing, and follow his doctor's advice. He could very easily be doing all the things that they say he's doing. But he's right now, he seems to be just doing a little drive-by tour of Chicago where he just shows up in places and people are catching him on social media, but he hasn't been interviewed by anybody recently. So I'm curious, and I know Jamie Foxx, you probably aren't watching us, but if you want to come on and talk to us for a minute, we'd be happy to talk to you. You can tell us what happened. But he probably won't talk to us first. It'll probably be those TMZ guys who like to basically try and find you wherever the hell you are and keep asking you questions until you finally answer the thing they wanted to know.
I don't think he likes the TMZ guys, Ed.
Oh, probably not. I don't think any actors really do. But there we have it. So let's check in with the live chat really quick, since I've been not on that tab. Okay. Yeah. Arturo says his wife died from complications from a Johnson & Johnson product and was angry at the company. I can't confirm that, but there must be a story out there if someone wants to look into that. Yeah. What else? Yeah, Hobo Roadie says he stays away from Tylenol. I've been trying to stay away from all those painkillers whenever possible. I used to take a lot of anti-inflammatory stuff when I used to have back problems that are, it's like when you're in pain, you got to find something to dull or kill the pain. And so, yeah, the pharmaceutical industry has a purpose. It's just that you got to be careful what you're taking, and you have to be aware that maybe not all pharmaceuticals are for all people. Looks like Jerry's camera is locked up again, but we'll keep rolling along. I'm going down the live chat here. We'll see what else you're saying here. Hobo Roadie says ibuprofen was meant to prevent Tylenol deaths. Is that real? Is that true? You think someone came up with ibuprofen because Tylenol was causing problems? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm skeptical about that. Yeah. Okay. Kathy says there are no magic bullets. Well, not yet, but we got all kinds of new technologies. Miguel thinks that CDC has lost all credibility. I'm not the FDA has been a problem for years too. I was reminded by Uncle Warren that remember NutraSweet, the artificial sweetener, also known as aspartame. Well, that was a problem from day one, but there were all kinds of things going on behind the scenes with the people that were supposed to be approving the thing, to the point where they had to add people to the board of approval or whatever in order to get the right number of people who were on board with getting it going. But now the stories are out that, you probably shouldn't be eating anything with aspartame in it. So all the people now drinking Diet Cokes might want to rethink that, but that's up to you. I mean, as my dad used to say all the time, you're never getting out of this world alive. Of course, if we make it out of orbit and finally colonize Mars or put apartments on the moon, might be able to argue that point. Am I babbling? Yes. Can I do that on this show? Yeah, because it's my night to do that on the show. But I'm happy to see you all here. Gamer for Life, good to see you, man. What else are we doing? Arturo says try edibles. I can't afford edibles, man. I'm just trying to make sure I get a roof over my head and enough ingredients for pizza on Fridays and tacos on Tuesday. And if I can do that and find a way to get a little more money coming in, maybe I can experiment with those other green things that are natural and perfectly fine for everyone, he said in a deadpan voice. Oh, Kathy's internet's getting jacked with now too. Now she's got, that's right. Kathy and Jerry, I think, have the same internet provider too. So now that is even more interesting that they're both having internet issues right now. So so there we are. We had our Jamie Foxx story. What else is going on here? There's a little, actually, we got a comment from Sherman Dilla Thomas, the Chicago's local historian here. He says, I just want to point out that brother Jamie Foxx and family could have picked anywhere on earth to heal up. He chose Chicago. Summertime chai has healing properties, he says. Yeah, maybe. I don't like construction time chai though. That does not have healing properties for me. So you gotta be in a place where it's summertime, but you don't have to deal with all the construction and traffic. From my point of view. What else is going on? Oh yeah, some terrible things happened. We're getting to the transportation portion of the show. And this is a little sad. A DUI reckless homicide charges for driver in wrong way CTA bus crash that killed Chicago woman celebrating birthday. This is from Chicago Sun-Times. Charisse Rush, 37, was out with friends after a late night of celebrating her birthday when the car she was riding in drove the wrong way on Lakeshore Drive, colliding with a CTA bus around 6 a.m. on Sunday. And there she is. That's a terrible way to end your birthday. That's awful. Says Floyd Bones' last conversation with Charisse Rush was about how she would be celebrating her 37th birthday. Hold on, let me get her picture up on the screen here. There we go. Stand by. Hours after their conversation, a vehicle she was riding in early Sunday was going the wrong way when it collided with a CTA bus, ultimately ending her life. I talked to her around 8 o'clock the night before, and she said she was going to a club to celebrate her birthday, said Bowens, Rush's oldest brother. I didn't hear anything else from my sister until later when someone called me and told me she'd been in a bad car accident. Meanwhile, Rush's friend, 29-year-old Dontrell Biggs, who was behind the wheel, has been charged with aggravated DUI, reckless homicide, and reckless driving, Chicago police said. Just before 6 a.m., Rush, Dontrell Biggs, and 32-year-old Christina Biggs were in a Dodge Journey heading northbound in the 4400 block of South Lakeshore Drive when the SUV made a sudden U-turn and struck a CTA bus head-on, according to police. Rush was taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center, where she was pronounced dead, police said. Dontrell Biggs was taken to the hospital in critical condition. His sister, Christina Biggs, was taken to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, where she was also listed in critical condition. Longtime friend of Rush's said she had called him the day of her birthday to invite him to celebrate with her, but she wasn't able to reach him. She called me because I had texted her happy birthday, but I was at work. I never got the chance to call her back. This story is awful. This is terrible. Look, guys, I know enough people have said this over the years to you, but if you're going to go out drinking and you know you've been drinking, don't drive. You can drink while you're streaming, but as long as you're not driving and streaming, if you're just streaming, I don't know what else to say to this other than, people, please take care of each other. If you're with a friend and he thinks he's okay to drive and he's not okay to drive, don't let him drive. Keep your car parked wherever it is. Take a Lyft or a cab or home. I don't know if I want to say a bus, in case, but I think all the people on the bus survived this. It was, sadly, one of the passengers of the car with the drunk driver is the one who lost her life, and it's not good. There's plenty of time to have your good times and get to places and do things. Don't be in a hurry to get somewhere if you've been drinking, please.
And only when you're streaming, because that's when you need it the most.
Yeah, drinking and streaming. This is my fake mojito. There's no Hito, it's just the Mo.
This is my real Jack Daniels and Coke. It's real. So, do you know that software called Malware Bytes, Ed?
Yeah. Is it?
It's appropriately named because it really does bite. I just really think that was my problem. And
Really?
We'll see if I'm smooth now. Yeah, it seems that I was able to get back in here much easier, so I think that's what was interfering. So.
Oh, well, I may have to yank that off of my machine too. Maybe that software doesn't work.
Let me finish the sentence.
Go ahead.
Okay. The software that's supposed to protect your system actually causes more problems for your system.
Huh.
Was my point.
I wonder why. Okay, all right. That's something I'm going to put a pin in for later when we decide to try and investigate any other issues with your laptop. But let's hope that it's the main culprit this time around. Oh, I see we have a super chat here. Zolo Hobo tipped us $4.99. And where did that go? Oh, it says, as someone who wants to move to Chicago, would you recommend it? My starting salary would be $54,000. I'm a longtime follower and appreciate your opinion. That's a great question. Look, don't let weird stories about violence and gunshots and all that other stuff keep you from coming to Chicago. It's a great city. Yes, they tax the hell out of us here in the state and the city. But the question you would have to ask yourself is the salary that you would be starting with I'm assuming that's a starting salary at a place you're considering moving to in Chicago and working at. If that starting salary gives you the opportunity to be able to rent and be able to make all your payments and everything, you don't have any other outstanding debts, and you're able to comfortably live with a budget with that amount of money, then I say, yeah, what the hell, go for it. And it's difficult right now because I know sometimes the rents are sky high in places, and you have to really do your research with that. Go to like the apartments.com thing and all those other places. And also, if there's a specific area in Chicago that you want to try to rent or maybe buy, go to the area and walk down the street and see if for rentals, see if there's a for rent sign in any of the doors. Sometimes some of the locals will not list their rentals, but they will put a for rent sign on their door so that they can get people who actually are interested in the area seeing the signs. And sometimes you can find a deal that way renting a place. Like that's how I found my first apartment in Chicago. I'm not from Chicago originally, but I've been here for 20 years now. I originally moved to Roscoe Village when I first moved here. And the place that I found to rent was the second floor of a 2-flat. And the owner of the 2-flat had put a sign out, but wasn't listing it anywhere else. Not on a newspaper, not online, nothing like that. So, and I was paying, it was actually me and a roommate were paying $1,200 a month. And that included heat and I think water, which was a pretty good deal back 20 years ago. I don't know what people are paying for rent these days. I know New York's a whole lot more expensive than Chicago is. But you have to weigh your options there, is what I'm saying, without getting too deep in the weeds there. I mean, it'd be good to talk about this on another show. Maybe we can have another show where we talk about just what does it cost to live in Chicago kind of show. Because things are expensive. I mean, but things are expensive everywhere. The cost of gas is still kind of high. I think it was like $4.50, $4.75 a gallon, depending on which part of the city you're trying to get gas in. Although there was one little story I had in the show notes. I'm just going to mention it quick. I don't think I'm going to play the video. There's this one guy who's got a repair shop in the West Loop, and he doesn't want to deal with the hassles and regulations of dealing with the gas station part of his business anymore. So he's started on Monday selling whatever was remaining in his gas tank thing for $2.99 a gallon. And so I'm like, look, if you guys know that you are going to be in the area of the West Loop and you could check in, he probably will run out probably either today or tomorrow, if I had to guess, and maybe cause a small bit of traffic jam problems in that area until he sells out, because he's only got 2 pumps over there. What was the name of the place? It was, where the hell was it? Did I write it down? I don't know if I wrote it down. I may not have it in the show notes. Did I leave it out of the show? I may have left it out of the show notes. No, I got it in there. I do have it in there. Okay. It's, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to play the video. It's not long. That's not it. We got an ad going.
In the meantime, Zola Hobo, you can generally probably find starting rents in Chicago, probably in the neighborhood of $1,200, $12 to $13, but that's going to be a neighborhood outside of downtown, probably farther north or west. Downtown Lincoln Park, I would even say going as far north as into Lakeview. Those are going to be the much more premium rental costs.
Yeah, and then also and I just realized you also got to consider where your job's going to be located. Is it a thing you can reach by public transportation easily, and are the routes of the public transportation that you would need to take reliable? 20 years ago, they were way more reliable. CTA taking buses and the L trains to the job that I had 20 years ago was pretty reliable. You could actually count on them showing up and not ghosting you. Today, slightly less reliable, hoping that's going to improve. We're gonna keep following our mayor to see to make sure that happens. Here's the video, and I'm probably going to stop it halfway through. I just wanted to find out where exactly this guy's located, so you guys can know in case you want to try and get the last of the gas that he's got over there.
Welcome back, and here's one way to jumpstart your Monday morning: filling up your gas tank with some pretty cheap gas.
We don't hear about this ever.
This is like decades-old prices, right?
CBS News' Jackie Costick live at the Fulton Displays Garage in the West Loop explaining.
Fulton Displays Garage in the West Loop.
How you can get your tank filled at a discount. Jackie, I had to do a double take during your tease earlier.
I know. There's a sticker shock, but in a good way. And that's, like you said, not the typical way that we see it. So take a look at the sign. Matt Tefka, the owner here at Fulton Displays Garage, just put it up this morning. Gas for $2.99 a gallon. That is by far the cheapest in the city of Chicago, according to AAA. Matt, good morning to you. He's probably also the only person that's up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. So what's this all about? Because we do want to make it clear. The garage is not actually closing, but you are ending the fuel business, right?
Ending the fuel. Our main focus here is fixing cars, and gasoline is more of a side part of it. Gasoline industry is a never-ending battle, never-ending expenses, EPA regulations, city regulations, state regulations. We're getting out at this point because it's the right time, and it'll give us an opportunity to expand our parking a little bit, maybe putting some charging stations. There's a lot of positives to getting out at this time.
How quickly?
Can you pause it for a moment, Ed?
Yeah, I'm not even going to play the rest of it because that's it in a nutshell. Yeah.
I was curious to understand what Zola Hobo meant by it would be for the Chicago police.
Does that mean that that they're trying to hire cops from outside of Chicago? Is that what you're saying, Zola Hobo? Are you trying to be a cop? Are you cool? Or are you going to continue the problems? That's what I want to know. We may not get an answer. I don't know.
Well, hopefully he'll clarify that. I didn't understand.
I don't know. I mean, look, if we're, I don't know if we're getting trolled here. But thanks for the tip. Look, they were talking about, we can talk about this for a little bit. The Chicago Police Department claimed that they are having problems keeping enough rank and file staff because a lot of guys are retiring and a lot of guys left and didn't come back, and some are threatening to leave. And meanwhile, our mayor is actually focusing on, well, at least he was focusing on trying to hire detectives or promote detectives, which we think is probably the better way to go, because you want to solve the problems. You don't want to have guys who are just going to be reactionary and, what's the word?
Unaccountable.
Unaccountable. Yeah, I guess that was one of them. We've talked on several shows, and Jerry has talked about on several shows about the ideals and the standards that you should be setting.
The fact that when you swear an oath to provide service as a police officer, this is a very solemn oath, and it's a privilege to serve the community. And unfortunately, too many police officers see it as an entitlement job. It's all about their benefits, what they can do, what they feel they can do, and what they don't have to be accountable for. When the bottom line is our idealistic idea of what law enforcement is, unfortunately, doesn't seem to be shared by those who are actually serving within law enforcement.
Oh, we got another tip here.
Thank you, Zola Hobo.
Yeah, this is okay. This is getting into be an interesting conversation now. It says yes, that's the starting pay. That's not enough, to be honest with you. Most people should be getting more than that for a base wage in any job, regardless. But that's neither here nor there. It says,
So
and
what
I
do you
believe,
mean? Hold on. He says, however, I understand that I am a representation of white supremacy.
are you
Okay.
saying you're white and you want to be a cop?
Zola Hoba, where do you live right now? I'm curious to know what city you'd be moving in from if you're exploring that opportunity to work for CPD. I wish we could send him a link to come join us on the show right now and talk with us about it.
Yeah, it would save a little time, although I appreciate the tips.
Yeah, I do too. It's not like they're not sorely needed.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, and by the way, in case people weren't aware, please don't tip us on Rockfin right now. We're not entirely in control of.
No, we're not in control of Rockfin whatsoever. Okay.
Yeah.
So although I was really questioning whether we should even post a show on Rockfin tonight, since we can't recover our revenue there, I figured it doesn't really make sense to like suddenly interrupt the archive of our shows. So we're still on Rockfin, but we're also trying to explore some options to recover our claim to the tips that so many people have graciously submitted there that are supposed to come to your humble hosts here at Chicago Corner.
Yeah. So, and so again, if you really want to support us, and yes, we appreciate the tips on YouTube, but it would be really fantastic if you could become a Patreon supporter. Head to patreon.com/Chicago Corner. Pick any amount that you feel like is worthy to donate to us on a monthly basis. You can always cancel after. I don't know if they have a one-time thing there or just tip once and then but if you want to be a continuing supporter, we appreciate that too. If you can't afford to, we understand that it's rough out there right now, trying to make ends meet for a lot of people. So what you can do to help us.
Let's get back to the conversation. No, I'm saying that the police are seen as an arm of white supremacy by Black and people of color, and no, I am a Black man.
Okay.
Look, you know what? If you have an urge to serve and perform as we imagine police officers should, don't let what anybody tells you, prevent you from coming here and applying and seeing if you can be one of the good cops that the city needs. I don't know that we think the cops are seen as an arm of white supremacy. Zola. I think, unfortunately, what we understand, though, is that there are a lot of rank and file officers that are white supremacists. It doesn't mean they're all that way. And it doesn't mean we see the police department that way. I guess what we're trying to do is like be able to weed out those or hold those that do have those leanings held accountable for the fact that, they feel that they could just get away with whatever they want to against not just people of color, but anyone.
Yeah, we're just we recognize that police departments have a history and of being an institutionally racist system. This is not news. This is how a lot of police departments operate, unfortunately, right now. It just so happens that a lot of communities are starting to stand up to that, and so places are trying to do reform or diverting or reallocating resources to make sure that, number one, police officers don't have so many responsibilities that they should not have, and two, make sure that they also get the support they need mentally and otherwise, so that everybody needs mental health services, including police officers. If you had wraparound services with other community services, for you can help homeless people work from getting into a shelter to maybe getting a job to maybe eventually getting an apartment or something. And then you have other services that. And also mental health is in there too, and healthcare. So we we think that there's got to be a better way than cities are doing it now when it comes to public safety, and so there have to be people open-minded to that when they decide they want to pursue a career in the police force. And so I'm hoping you're one of them.
Well, I understand what he's saying here with this last comment. No, but white supremacy in terms of historically speaking, police were slave catchers. It's interesting you bring that up because a lot of people don't know that police were formed as slave catchers, and then after the Civil War and after that turn in history, suddenly the police basically then were assigned to be property protectors, and then evolved into the entity we know today that's supposed to preserve law and order. But unfortunately, that's not always the case. So,
all right. Well, I got a few other things in the show notes I didn't realize.
Kathy asks if we should start a Twitter storm against Rockfin. No, Kathy, it's not Rockfin's fault. It's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
It's other forces that are, and we can talk off the show about it. I'll share with you, Kathy, since you are a Patreon and you do deserve to know what's going on. So,
yeah,
Rockfin's great. No, don't, this is not a Rockfin. I'm seeing some comments in the chat about Rockfin.
Please don't hassle Rockfin over this. This is not their fault at all. It's just there are certain things that needed to be done during our transition when we
by
decided
our former colleagues.
When we formed a worker co-op for Chicago Corner, there were some steps that needed to be taken that were not taken in order to give us control over the monetization part of the Rockfin account.
They were called
without getting too deep into the weeds there. And so I don't know if
no railing against Rockfin necessary. We'll sort it out. But the reason we're asking everybody not to contribute there is we don't know when we will be able to have our wallet connected to the Rockfin account because other entities attached their wallet to the Rockfin account prior to the transition without letting us know there was ever a wallet attached. So you do the math. Yeah.
So trying to find the next story here. I want to move on to the next thing here. Some of these websites, it's like you scroll and there's this like entire blank box that's taking up half the screen. Anyway. Okay. So we got another story here about my story title in my show notes. And by the way, if you guys want to follow along with some of the stories we're doing, and we don't always use every article in the show notes, but sometimes you might want to read a little more about some of the stuff we're covering. I know in the show description for YouTube and Rockfin and possibly Facebook, there is a link to the show notes, and you can see all the links to the stories that we're using in some of the videos and stuff, and some of my snide remarks and comments in there as well. This story says snowflakes, or in parentheses, cream puffs or cannoli, from Italian-American Human Relations Foundation of Chicago, call for 33rd Ward Alderperson Rosanna Rodriguez Sanchez to resign.
Do you want to bring up the screen?
The problem with me bringing up the screen is I have a big white box at the top of the screen. Okay. So I'm trying to see if I can disappear. I'm trying to see if I can turn it off over here. Okay. So if you can hang on. And by the way, I saw my video glitching a little bit inside my StreamYard control. So if anyone's having trouble hearing or seeing me, please let me know, because I might need to switch over to another internet connection. But until then, I'm just going to keep looking for the thing that I can turn off so I can read this art. Oh, here we go. Let me hide this. And I will turn this off. can't find it. All right, screw it. I'm just going to read it. We're not going to have it on the screen here. Oh, wait. No, I got it working. Okay. All right. I am a genius. All right. Group calls for Chicago Alderwoman's resignation over tweets on Italian-American culture from CBS 2 Chicago. And that says... it says, non-apology not accepted. That's how some members of Chicago's Italian-American community are responding to one alderwoman's follow-up to what they called racist comments on Twitter. CBS 2 political investigator Dana Kozlov had the story. Now we're asking for her resignation, said Lou Rago, the president of the Italian-American...
Are you kidding me? That's what they're doing now? Oh my God! What a bunch of fucking
the president of the Italian-American Human Relations Foundation of Chicago, referring to Alderwoman Rosanna Rodriguez Sanchez of the 33rd Ward. Rago said
comments about Italian ice.
Yeah,
it's the hill they want to die on.
Yeah, so
comments about an offhanded, funny little comment about Italian ice.
Now, listen to what they say. They say the alderwoman reduced our heritage to food, Rago said, and she marginalized us. Listen here. Let me tell you something about that, okay? When you are talking about your own cultural heritage, food is an enormous part of that. Now, for you, Italian organization to be considering that as a slight is very short-sighted and offensive to me. And I am going to follow up with my rebuttal to this before I read the 33rd Ward Working Families rebuttal. And it is this. Hold on a second. I gotta hit the thing here. Hold on. There it is. And it is this. How dare they? How dare they besmirch the good name of Caterina Di Cosmo, inventor of the modern Italian ice, Jerry? Now, if we can see, let me open this image up here.
What's funny to me is they would prefer to cling to their association with a genocidal maniac who got lost on his way to America. Okay, well let me get a word in edgewise tonight. I feel that the whole show's been a monologue.
I'm sorry, Jerry.
Okay.
I was realizing that you were having problems with your screen,
I know.
So I'm trying to carry the show here.
Okay, you don't have to. I'm here and I can participate. So it's interesting to me. It's always been interesting to me that they prefer to cling to their association with Christopher Columbus as if it means anything these days, knowing what real history is, instead of finding other prominent Italians that actually deserve any kind of respect or acknowledgement. It's like Columbus. Oh, you said something about Italian ice. I wonder if she, you know what would be even more interesting, Ed? What if she'd said something about pizza? Would they have been offended by that? I think they would have, because you made a very, very salient point here. Food is an important connection to many, many cultures. And there's nothing here that they should have taken offense at. She didn't mean it disrespectfully, and she did not mean it in a way to like cause all of this controversy over the fact that she mentioned it to begin with. So go ahead.
Yes, and to your point, Jerry, there was another here. Let me flip back over to the article here, because it says, but some members of the Italian American community felt differently. I was not offended by her tweets, said Gabriel Piemonte, who heads a lesser known group called the Italian American Heritage Society of Chicago. He believes Rago's group is going after the outspoken and progressive alderwoman because she's long criticized Christopher Columbus and any related monument to him. Like you said, Jerry. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. He says these people are not calling for her resignation because their feelings were hurt, Piemonte said. They don't like her position. They want one less person who would rather not see Columbus statues up in the city council.
Yep.
And so,
right on. So that's it.
So again,
hidden agenda.
So here we are. This is a picture of the people from the DeCosmo family, and on the left is Katerina and Giovanni DeCosmo. Katerina had.
Can I repronounce it for you, Ed? It's Katerina.
Katerina.
You're looking at the American or the English spelling, but it's pronounced
Katerina. Pronounce it Katerina.
Right.
In the early 1900s, after immigrating to Elizabeth, New Jersey, from Valletta, Italy. Yeah, I understand that Italian ice was not invented in Chicago. It was invented in New Jersey. But we do have some great Italian ice places in Chicago, too. Anyway, Giovanni and Katerina Di Cosmo opened a small neighborhood market in the Peterstown section. One particularly hot summer, Katerina decided to offer their customers something especially refreshing. She remembered the granita that she had enjoyed in Italy and thought that it would be a welcome addition to their little store. She created a recipe using fresh squeezed lemon juice, sugar, and water. She modified the traditional method of scraping the ice crystals to churning the mixture by hand in an ice cream maker. Customers loved it, and word of mouth quickly spread. Now so inspired by the granita, she invented the Italian ice. Now, this is a person who should have a statue if she doesn't.
Yes.
This is
and why shouldn't she? Why would they argue against that when what she's provides so much joy and is affiliated with Italian culture in such a positive way?
Exactly. And so I'm reading this from the DeCosmo Italian Ice website. They still have a store in New Jersey. They're still up and running, and it's really great to know that the family that invented the Italian ice is still kicking around, serving it up to people. And so I would be, if I were an Italian American, I'd be extremely proud of that.
Yeah.
And I would want to have statues of these people.
Or other Italian artists.
Yes.
Inventors,
I mean, I'm just this is just the one example because they had a problem with Italian ice. And I'm saying, why? You think you're being mocked.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see it. But that's the Italian ice story for today. I hope you guys all enjoyed that. And so here we are. It's 8:54. It's not a ton. Well, I mean, I got more stuff like the This Day in History stuff. We could fly through that stuff. I wanted to remind you guys that there is a possibility.
In 17 states may be able to see the Northern Lights this coming Thursday.
Possibility of what?
Wait, let me back that up.
People in 17 states may be able to see the Northern Lights this coming Thursday. If you want to travel, the closest states for us are Maryland, New York, New Hampshire, and Vermont. The Space Weather Prediction Center says if you're interested in seeing them, you should get away from the city lights.
Do we need the police standby?
National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration will monitor the activity and.
No, Jerry, I can see the video fine on my end. I hope everybody else can see it. This was a video from CBS Philadelphia, so that's why they didn't mention Illinois. But there is, we have an article from the Chicago Sun-Times. Normal lights may illuminate Chicago skies this week. The Aurora Borealis also may be visible in 16 other states, including Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, New York, Vermont, and New Hampshire. And there's another lovely picture of the Mojito Borealis. Aurora Borealis. Yeah, so I have and there's a link in the show notes from the NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association, I think is what that stands for. They have a little dashboard, and you can see they have a little maps that tell you where the aurora is and where it's probably going to be tomorrow, and where you'll likely be able to view it. So just looking at tonight's and tomorrow's, it looks like the viewing area is still a bit north of us. But, it's going to be doing this aurora thing for a little while now. So maybe later on in the week, you'll be able to see it from the Chicago area. Although, like they said, if you're downtown or in a place with a whole lot of lights, you may not be able to see it very well. So you'll want to probably take a trek out to the suburbs or somewhere away from the downtown area with all the skyscrapers and lights in order to get a really good view of it when it is in your area. So there's our Aurora Borealis section here. And we are getting to the best part of the show. Okay, it might not be the best part of the show, but I'm raising expectations. I try to raise expectations. I don't know, Jerry. Is it working?
Yeah, I guess I'm looking forward to seeing which ditch you're going to drive us into next.
Yes, that's what I was going for. All right, I'm just going to read these, and I have links for some of these, and like I said, you guys can check out the show notes if there's any further things you want to see. But I've been trying to do this thing called This Day in History and reading off and mentioning and commenting on some notable events that happened today, July 11th, in different years in history. For example, in 1944, President Franklin D. Roosevelt declared he would accept a nomination to run for president of the United States for the 4th time. Now that may sound weird to a lot of you because presidents these days can only run for 2 terms now.
And he was the reason that
was the reason
enacted. Yeah, because he was a successful president who was continuously reelected. So, his opponents decided, no, we can't allow that anymore. So Congress voted to change. So
in 1951, the states ratified the 22nd Amendment, enshrining in law that presidents can only serve 2 terms. So that guaranteed that Roosevelt is the longest serving president in American history.
Though, Ed, let's speculate here. What other presidents may we wanted to have stayed in office beyond 2 terms in contemporary times? I can't think of any.
That's a good question. Well, it might have been interesting to see what JFK would have done with it.
Well, sure.
Had he not
lost his head.
Yeah, had he not lost his head.
With that JFK headache that only Tylenol
turn a phrase.
Yeah.
Yes. And I don't know. I don't know. Anybody in the live chat have any opinions on which president they feel like could have used an extra term and maybe gotten something good done?
Art has
maybe Jimmy Carter. I don't know.
Jimmy Carter. Yeah. Had he not been pushed out of office with Reagan rigging things with the.
I'm saying that with all knowledge that not many of our presidents were super great, and they all had problems. They all had issues.
JFK would have probably been the only one I would have wanted to see, not just go beyond 2 terms, but possibly serve 3 or 4. Because JFK was a president who, at the time, started to see through the bullshit. That's why he got taken out. That's why he got taken out. Did you know, Ed, that they've also continued to push off the release of all of these documents that were promised to be released, I think, about 10 years ago? Every president has continued to delay the release of documents, because it needs to protect, U.S. Security. Yeah, what U.S. security? The fact that our own government took out our own president, and you don't want people to know that they could potentially do that again, which is probably why every president in modern times who's campaigned on something it doesn't follow through might not, his first day in office be shown the Zapruder film and said, that's the way things go if you don't, play by our rules.
Could be that.
These are the facts of life, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Don't be a hero.
Okay. Yeah. So here we are. Okay. 1955. On this day, President Eisenhower signed a bill requiring use of the inscription "In God We Trust" on all paper money. How'd that work out for us? I don't know. Also on this day, in 1969, David Bowie released the single "Space Oddity" 9 days before the Apollo 11 lands on the moon.
What year was that?
1969, July 11th.
The year Indiana Jones went after the Antikythera.
The Antikythera. The dial of destiny. Or the whatever the hell. The time dial. That's what it was. All right. In 1979.
Dialysis of density.
Yeah. So in 1979, parts of Skylab, the first U.S. space station, after breaking up in the atmosphere, showers burning debris over Australia and into the Indian Ocean. That was probably rare back in 1979, but we have space junk landing on Earth all the time now. It's just they don't report a whole lot of it. Occasionally people will catch videos of burning stuff and re-entering the atmosphere, and you'll see it on social media. But in 1979, that was a rare occurrence that you never heard about any of that stuff. And this was one of those things where, they knew Skylab was going to be coming back in because it was, I guess, scheduled to lose its orbit or whatever, and then they were going to put a new space station up there. So like we got, the International Space Station's up there now. But it used to be Skylab was up there. Okay, 1985. Today, in 1985, July 11th, the Coca-Cola Company makes one of the worst decisions in marketing history.
Wait,
you want to guess?
Worse than Bud Light's marketing decision earlier this year?
Worse than that. When it decides to change its original formula and introduces new Coke.
Do they still have both labels? Because I remember when they returned the original formula, they left the new formula, but I don't think I see the new formula on store shelves anymore. I think they finally phased out that new formula. That's a good question.
Did they discontinue new Coke? That's a great question. Did they discontinue new Coke? I'm going to Google that right now. Discontinued in 2002. But before they discontinued it, they renamed it Coke 2 in 1992.
Coke 2. Stupid idiots.
Yeah. So, and this was my conspiracy theory on this was that they had been making a transition off of regular sugar to high fructose corn syrup for all of their productions instead of just some of them across the nation and most of the world. And this was one of those distractions for that finality. So that when so my thought was that they created new Coke on purpose to be bad, so people would be mad at that and they could apologize for that and go, okay, we're sorry, we're bringing back Coke Classic. And all of a sudden, Coke Classic now is made with high fructose corn syrup instead of real sugar.
Mm.
But that's just my conspiracy theory. I can't confirm that, but it's
very interesting speculation.
It's a pretty good guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now if you wanted to get Coke with real sugar in it, you would either have to get the Mexican Coke in the glass bottles or wait till Passover and look for the 2-liter bottles with the yellow caps on them because those are made with real sugar. Some people don't know that.
Oh, Art has some interesting breaking news. I didn't know this because I don't have cable. I just have an internet connection. But I guess WGN Channel 9 was removed from cable services since last week. Have you noticed that on your Comcast?
I don't have cable TV. I just have the internet. So I don't know. I
Art,
watch WGN.
Which provider do you have? I wonder if that's across all platforms or just yours. I'm curious to know. Interesting. We'll have to follow up on that for Friday, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. That was 1985. 1987, for the first time in history, the world's population exceeds 5 billion people.
5 billion.
And the 5 billionth person on Earth's name was Matej Gasper.
Now, why did they identify him, though, as that 5 billionth person?
It's a good question, Jerry. I know that they actually were doing that for a number of those milestones. So I'm going to bring up this. Let me bring up this screen really quick here.
Miguel, one could also argue that Coca-Cola tasted better when it actually had cocaine in it, too, back in the 1920s and 30s.
That's slightly misinformation there. It was made with coca leaf. It was not made with cocaine.
But isn't coca leaf a component of cocaine?
I think it depends on the portion of it that they actually used, and I am not a scientist. I can't confirm.
All right.
World population to hit 8 billion today. This was back in 2022 November. We hit 8 billion, and so they were picking out like the 5 billionth person, 6 billionth, 7 billionth, 8th person. I don't think they picked a person for the 8 billionth person. Maybe they just decided not to do that anymore. But here we go. Matej Gasper, born in July 1987, was the 5 billionth person. And here we go. After 35 years, well, it'd be 36 now, the world's 5 billionth baby is trying to forget his ceremonious entry into this world. His Facebook page suggests he lives in Zagreb, is happily married, and works as a chemical engineer, but he avoids interviews and declined to speak to the BBC. Now, there are other people in this list. Again, this article's in the show notes. I don't want to talk about all the other people who hit those milestones. They're really not important in the grand scheme of things. They just happen to be that person they decided was the 5 billionth or 6 billionth or 7 billionth person. Now here we are. This is an approximate count of how many people there are on planet Earth right now. You see the number keeps going up?
Yeah.
We're at 8 billion. 43,757,262. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Look, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's no wonder that there's definitely some shadow organizations freaking out about the population of humans on the Earth, and why there's all kinds of nefarious schemes at play trying to reduce the population in ways that most people would not approve of. Without getting too deep into that rabbit hole. But yeah, that's a lot of people. Damn, that's a lot of people. All right, so that's our world population clock. Okay, I'm just going to leave that up on the screen while I'm reading the next one. In 2008, oil hit an all-time high of $147 a barrel, following further missile testing by Iran in the Middle East and concerns over oil supplies should tensions increase further between Iran and Israel over Iran's nuclear program. Now, this is 2008. Today, I was like, okay, well, how much is oil these days? The current price of oil is about half that. It's about $74 a barrel last time I checked. And there's a link in the show notes. You guys want to look and see what the current price of oil is. But finally, Jerry, and I think you're going to enjoy this news.
I certainly hope so.
Today, in Batavia, Illinois, Imagine Batavia unveiled its Super EMX auditorium with the largest movie screen in Illinois.
You know, they used to have one of those over at Navy Pier in the IMAX theater till that theater shut down. I think that was the largest screen. I remember seeing The Dark Knight there.
Yeah.
Biggest screen in a theater I've ever seen. So I'm wondering if they'll reference that Navy Pier screen in regards to what is in this Batavia screen, the size of the
let me get that back on the screen here. Okay, and I will read from the other one. Okay, Imagine Entertainment, a manager of luxury theaters around the U.S., will hold a special screening of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 at 2 p.m. July 11th. That was this afternoon, as it unveiled its new Super EMX auditorium. It is billed as the largest movie screen in Illinois, measuring over 96 feet wide and 53 feet tall, the size of an NBA court flipped on its side. That's pretty big.
Art's already getting ready to buy tickets. How far away is Batavia?
Batavia, it's western suburbs. It's maybe an hour and a half, 2 hour drive from Chicago.
Yeah,
we could go, but we'd have to plan an outing there. It's like, yeah, let's go roll out to the suburbs. You know,
I don't have any interest in seeing Mission Impossible. Am I correct? Or I didn't have an interest in seeing Top Gun Maverick either. Does that make me like some weird movie-going anomaly?
No, I did finally end up watching Top Gun Maverick on a streaming service, and it was okay. I realized they were basically, it was fan service mostly.
I have a feeling that this new Mission Impossible is the same thing, because Tom Cruise is successful. Okay, he does deliver. I have a lot of respect for the fact he does all of his own stunts, but I don't ever sense that there's anything different in Tom Cruise movies, movie to movie. It's the same formula over and over again, which I guess a lot of people want. They don't like change or growth.
I haven't hated any of his Mission Impossible movies. So I mean, if you're up for an action movie flick and you liked some of the previous Mission Impossibles, I'm sure it's going to be good.
You mean a mindless action flick?
Well, yeah. I mean, they may have a plot in there, but did that ever really matter in those kind of movies? I don't know.
Off the Rails Russia Gators says Man Theater, the Chinese one out in Hollywood, may still be the first rate. Maybe first rate. Well, one of the largest screens. That's a beautiful theater, also beautiful auditorium. I used to see movies there when I lived out in LA.
So it says the 4K laser projected image is paired with a Dolby Atmos immersive sound system with 70 channels of sound.
Wow.
Okay. It was formerly the Randall 15 IMAX, purchased back in the spring of 2020. Okay. There's some more pictures here. Okay, let's get some more pictures here. This is they're showing a little bit of close up. Looks like they got some recliners on the very close up front seats, which I guess would be a good thing, since you're probably going to have to recline in order to look up at the screen when you're that close.
That's true. Good planning.
Yeah, but those seats look relatively comfortable, so that's a plus. In addition, there's a high roller room which features a full-service bar, shuffleboard, video games, pool tables, large-screen television. It looks like it's a gigantic entertainment complex there, as well as a movie theater. So that's probably a good little destination type of situation for going out and seeing a big movie on the hugest screen in Illinois. They got a duck pin, Brunswick duck pin social bowling lanes too. Yeah, we could go bowling, see a movie on a really huge screen. So yeah, they have other theaters in there other than the one that's got the basketball court size screen. But I imagine that Mission Impossible is probably going to be there for a week or two, right?
Yeah.
Don't they make them have a run for 2 weeks in a single screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless, well, I don't know what the hell. I don't know how they do that, whether they can rotate that to a different theater and then switch it to a different movie.
Yeah, they could do that.
So maybe that's what they'll do. So we'll have to check and see what the schedule is like over there and see if there's any other movies that we want to see there. Speaking of movies, I think Oppenheimer's coming up next. Is that the next one?
Yes, that's the one I want to see. If I can talk my dad into coming in, since he's a big history buff, I'm hoping that I originally I told my dad about Oppenheimer about 3 weeks ago because I know he loves historical movies, and I said, this might be one you want to like get out of the house and go see in a theater. And then I also mentioned it to you and Art. We should do a review about it. So when it opens, we'll see how we can put that all together.
Cool. Yeah. And if anybody wants to go see Barbie after Oppenheimer, I'm this close to thinking about doing that. A whole bunch of people on the Twitter have already reserved their tickets to see both on the same day, which is amazing to me.
Well, in our pool, you will be alone.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if people are interested in, I know Jerry's not interested, and I'm sure Art doesn't want to.
Hey,
go.
I love Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a very talented actress. She's very easy on the eyes. I can't tell from the trailers, is this a spoof? I can't sense how you like, and maybe that's why I should see it.
Was it with Greta Gerwig directing it? So it could.
I don't know who she is.
There could be any kind of.
But what are her previous credits to get us?
What movie is she known for? Damn, I can't remember. But she had an interesting style. Let me see if I can find out what movie she's done. And she's been what's it called? What's the movie called? Oh, did she direct Arthur?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
2011? Okay.
The one with Russell Brand?
I don't know who was in that one. I didn't see it.
Arthur?
Yeah.
So the original Arthur starred Dudley Moore, and they did a remake with Russell Brand. Okay.
I remember the Dudley Moore one.
Yeah, there was a remake with Russell Brand, and it wasn't too long after that he kind of like exited from acting and disappeared for a while, and now he's a big phenomena on video podcasting now with his show.
Here, let me see. I gotta pull up her IMDb really quick because I want to say that I seen she did a critically acclaimed comedy drama film called Lady Bird in 2017.
Oh yes, I heard about. I didn't see that, but that was a very well acclaimed movie.
Okay. Well, I could be confusing her with another person, but let me see if I can find her director credits here. Yeah, no, I can't find the one that I'm thinking of, but that's okay. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what to expect from this movie other than.
Miguel H. mentioned Suicide Squad. We know that Margot Robbie was in Suicide Squad, but it wasn't directed by this. David Ayer directed Suicide Squad.
Yeah. So I was trying to remember which movies Greta Gerwig directed. I think she was an actor as well at one point, but I can't remember which movie it was that I remember her from. Anyway, once again, I've driven the show into a ditch. And so I want to thank everybody for letting me drive the show into the ditch while I cover all kinds of things today, including the Aurora Borealis.
Oh, Lord, what is happening in there? Aurora Borealis? Aurora Borealis. At this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country, localized entirely within your kitchen. Yes. May I see it? No.
No, you may not see the Aurora Borealis located in my kitchen. But there it is, ladies and gentlemen. We made it through another one.
Survived another Tuesday night broadcast.
Yes. And so I want to thank you for joining us. Hopefully we will have less of my bullshit on Friday when Jerry's running the show.
It's not bullshit. It's just either it's the delay or your enthusiasm. I just want to make sure we can, I can toss it.
No, but also I was a little bit off today. I'm like hitting the wrong buttons and not getting the tabs up. And I'm just feeling like, I could have run this show a little bit better, but that's why we keep doing it. If I do it enough times, Jerry, I'm going to get it right.
By year 5, well, there'll be a skeleton sitting in this chair on the other side.
Yes. So one day we're going to get it right. So I'm looking forward to getting on Uncle Mundus' show, Mundus Ultra,
Thursday night.
On Thursday night. So keep an eye out for that. If you guys aren't following on YouTube channel, the YouTube channels on Mundus Ultra and Extra Bulla, please do that.
Great.
And also remember to like, share, and subscribe our program, a little program here called Chicago Corner. Tell people we exist, please. Maybe one of your friends will tune in. You guys can, make fun of us in the live chat. It's multi-purpose, this show.
Thank you, Off the Rails. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So thanks again for joining us. Join us again Friday, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Give or take a few minutes.
At which time at 8:00 we will celebrate the return of Lainey Peterson and do a half hour at 8:00 with a very special Chicago wine report.
Yeah, that's going to be good too.
Yep.
I should probably ask her what wines they're going to be drinking so we can drink along. or if I can't get a hold of the wine in time, I may just grab, a wine glass, and whatever beverage I happen to be drinking, I'm just going to pour it in the wine glass.
Prepare in advance, sure.
Yeah. So that'll be good, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I leave you with a few words of wisdom. This few words from Boo Boo the bear.
Would you consider yourself a revolutionary?
Well, no, but I do believe corporations rob us of our dignity and independence, and that these systems must be ripped down, burnt down, or leveled by any force necessary. But that's just one little bear's opinion.
So on behalf of myself and Jerry Vasilatos, I am Deep Dish Pizza enthusiast Edward Heller. Thank you for watching Chicago Corner, and good evening. Wait, did I accidentally hit the button twice there?
I'm not touching anything.
I did. I hit it twice. I'm going to hit it again. Good night, everybody.
Fuck this noise, man.
Get out. And don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. If you would like to be a guest on Chicago Corner, please email our host, Jerry, at chicagocorner.tv.